All right, everybody, we got it here. Let's see if I can find out how to share. There we go. Let's share this out on X. Post that in. All right. Oh, it already did it. Well, now we know. Okay, so apparently I've got it set where it'll always share. So right now, let's see. Let's check our oil here. Just a quick check. I'm long oil with a pretty heavy amount of my account right now. I'd say about 70%. We'll see how that goes. Just figured I'd post my first one, even though I'm not really feeling it tonight. But had family for the last, 6 days in the house. Did the whole, Christmas vacation thing where you're like, oh no, we're all in this together with the wife. And but I am long. I doubled my position this evening. Bought it up here, but it's pulling back now. But that's okay. We bought the other position here, so we're all right. Down about 0.25% right now. Just looked at it on the Webull app. So I've entered the U.S. Investors Championship. Um, so I definitely wanted to post first night going into the main week. We'll look at our low volume setups here. And I do still intend to switch over to Deepvue, but right now I just keep getting pulled back to TradingView. I also love TrendSpider. It's been hard not to just sell out on TrendSpider. I don't like it as much on the intraday trading. I'm taking a sip of wine, but TrendSpider is just really good. Has a lot of powerful attributes to it that I really enjoy. So I just a little bit about myself, and that's what this is really about tonight. Just as we head into the year, and I've entered the U.S. Investors Championship, just sort of a little bit of a journal, diary, or whatever as we go along. A little different than what I've been doing the past over a year in Stock Talk Insiders Discord. So this is a little more of a breakout, just sort of me, Phat type style. I use Traders Lab. I'll bring that up and show you what Traders Lab is before we get into setups, just to kind of give you an idea again of who Phat is as we move forward here. I like Traders Lab. What I like most about it, it's definitely built for swing trading. Really easy to scan and see what's looking good, what's not looking good. So right now, McClellan Oscillator, they do a great job. These guys setting this up. Just bearish, bearish, bearish. And that's telling you we could be at the start of a potential downtrend, regardless of what you think. Love breadth extensions and love when it gets down here to oversold like this. And, there was a little bit of a viable dip Friday around 10:30, 11 o'clock that did occur. So, it's possible that sustains. But you can see right here, energy, basic materials, industrials leaving. So value sectors leading. Defensives up in there as well. And when you go down here, technology is red, consumer defensive is red as well, though. So a little bit of a mix, but communication services red also. So basically value leading again on Friday as it was most of the week and really the last couple of weeks. Another one that I use is stockcharts.com. Oh, forget that off there. Sorry, I forgot my email. Not a big deal there, as long as you know my password. So there we got stockcharts.com, and I use it. A couple of things I do with it, main things I do. So market summary. Love getting on here. It's one of the first things I do is I'll just kind of scan this market summary, see how the market did that day. Because sometimes you get busy, you have things going on. And you just kind of check the market. I just kind of check it, see where everything's sitting. A lot of bellwether type stuff right here. You just go through it. When you see something that catches you of note, you click on it, right? You break it down a little further if you need to. And an easy thing to do, let me show you this. So this is the easiest thing to do if you're a trader. They don't show you everything. It's hard to catch everything off Twitter. Although I will say again, or I will say the first time in this, it's very beneficial. I use X, Twitter, whatnot. I've learned so much and could not have learned it without it, I would say. So you just put that in there and you just click analyze, and it will really help you to teach you what these charts mean. Just giving you this as a quick example. See how it shows you seasonality adjusted U.S. Consumer Price Index from 2008, 2005, and it'll just go through it for you, right? And you can type in TLDR and all that if you want. I just type in analyze, and it tells you how to use this chart. I mean, it's really, really good. Use Perplexity or whoever, ChatGPT, to your advantage. So again, stockcharts.com, and then I use Deepvue. So on Deepvue, this is my main setup. I love Deepvue. Use it all the time. So what I do here is I go in and got it on. So nightly review. So I'll go in here. My general routine, first thing I'll do is look at stock charts. I'll go through. I didn't mention David Keller. I learned a great deal from watching his videos over the years. So after I do that market analysis, market summary right there, then I immediately go into David Keller's list, and I've made it my own, and I've actually added some in. So just to give you an example, chart list view, all of these, I'll go through every single one of them every single night, and they're all marked up on my own now. I don't even watch his videos anymore. I just, I've got them all marked up, how I like to trade. I love this chart right now. So and it's brilliant what he did. So RSI, for example, on SPX, it's just pulled out and singular look at it. Look at that wedge. If you had multiple indicators on this chart, you wouldn't even notice that. But on its own, and what I've done is I go through, and I sort of learned this from him. He doesn't do this on every chart and all the time. He probably could see it with his eyes without even doing it, but it sort of trains your eyes, if you will. What I've done is, so when RSI, when it's green, what you see in this green shading, the RSI has come down to the way oversold mark, right, 30. And then when we're above the the 50 line, then it's yellow. So above the 50, this is a good example right here. So down below 30, and we go above it or bounce off of it, it becomes green. And you can see the obvious trends. And of course, the trends are better off the 30. The extremes. I learned that from Bennett Pattern Profits. The extremes is where the money is made, and it's reasonable to chop, reasonable to chop off the 50 level. And so I just chart these things, and what David Keller says is these are just they're journal notes. Is what you're doing. You're just everyday scripting, and I've erased some as I've gone, but a lot of times I'll leave it. But you can see this wedge, and it was a very clear indicator when the market started struggling off this newer Dow theory. It was really good. And you can see here, similar to like RSI of late, we're bouncing and going down. If you look at the weekly SPX, it's just bouncing off this trend line and going down. And QQQE is doing the same thing right here. So that just tells you, I mean, it's obvious that there's some, we need a catalyst of some sort. TNX, and you're just kind of bouncing sideways, but just showing you again what I look at. And then nightly, I go in, save dashboards, nightly review, and I'll check the market trend every night. And what that is, I'm using the Deepvue. This green area is obviously good. Yellow, and what it's tracking is these moving averages, the 10, 20, and the 50, basically, and what pace they are at, if they're increasing or decreasing. And when it gets red, I mean, obvious caution up here. And then you have your stage analysis. So I kind of combine that stage analysis, which right now, if you look, so this is 2A, this lighter green, and then here's dark green in 2. And so right now we're in 2A. We're not quite in stage 2 yet, and we're in red. So that's very cautionary as we go. And then down here, I'm watching the market cycle, which is basically when it turns green, that's when you look to get long. So you're just prepping, finding stocks showing relative strength on that pullback, and then getting long on those market cycles. And that's the whole game currently until something changes. Themes, I check the themes every night, just go through them and check them. And I'll do more of that lately. I don't want to hold you up too long before I get into setups. I like this right here. This is becoming popular with myself because what happens is now you can go in and you can actually click on those themes and go down individually in those themes and check them. And I really like this because you can really see how things are set up. Look at GE right there. I mean, that's just beautiful. Look at that volume. Look at that low volume pullback right there. And then just boom on Friday. And so what that tells me, for example, I've got ILM. No, I've got CMI. There it is right there. I've got it on my list. And it's a 3-bar break. But what I like about it is this area right here. This mini coil is set up right here. It is, oh, I don't like that. Get rid of that. So I've got this mini coil right here, and it just slightly broke it on Friday. So I think we've got room to run, right? All-time highs. This is one of those green line breakouts. I forget the guy who calls that, but Moglen's mentor he took in college. I can't remember his name right now, but he calls it a green line breakout. I believe that's a green line breakout. And look at that relative strength. Here's RMV. It was very tight. Took a little dipsy do, and then now it's breaking out. So, again, that industrials. That's one of the strongest sectors right now. Had a good day on Friday. And this one's on my list. So definitely tracking CMI for Friday. Just other stuff. Let's just kind of, again, this because this is the first night of the year that I'm trading sort of actively under the competition. ETF review, I'd move that to the watch list. S&P 500 performance bar, I just kind of check it every night, just kind of see what's going on. And what I love about Deepvue, they do price change current week, and you can't get that like on stock charts. Daily heat map, it's messed up. Let's see if we can fix it right now. I don't want to hold everybody up. Gosh, I like that one. So I have that one set to the, I have that one set to the Deepvue leaders list. And basically I just copy it over. I'll have to come back and do that one. That one's a little frustrated right there. But now Deepvue, one of the negatives, got to say, can't all be positive. Otherwise, it's BS. Kind of like at work when you have to fill out stuff on people. It's got some glitches in it, and so that one I got to reset it. But then every day I do the market monitor just to show me what's moving. Like SKYT, that was one that Undefined Mystic had been all over. Velo was all over him. He was all over that one as well. Both with 20% days on Friday. It's telling you something, right? AFJK, FLNC, and you go through them and you just say, okay, what is that telling me? And so maybe you go through and check these. Look at Serve, 13% day. So robotics, UUU, minerals. I mean, just it's telling you something. And I just want to see who moved that day. And then I want to see off the NASDAQ and the S&P who moved that day. LRCX, one I've been tracking for a long time. Really disappointed in myself for not buying it. Really shown really good relative strength the whole time. Daily strength, oh gosh, dog it. The old glitching. Well, that's what you go through, right? And then group ranks. I just want to see who did best on the Deepvue universe. Again, sort of a second look. The Bitcoin miners that were doing good. I mean, it's telling you something, and you just look at them. So, price plays, pays, as Brian Shannon says. So I want to make sure we do that. So that's a nightly review there. And then I go in on the watch list here. And this is really, if I had to skip everything, this is what I do. I go in and I do the Phat 1020 Cloud pullback. And this is my own personal scanner that I've made, call it proprietary or whatever. It's just, no, I'm not sharing it with anybody. But this is where it's at. And what I'll tell you is I have used a combination of multiple scans that I've learned over the years that basically, in the end, I'm pulling from the Deepvue leaders. I'm pulling from the Deepvue universe. I'm pulling from Deepvue liquid leaders. And either if they're from the Deepvue universe and they're not liquid leaders or they're not Deepvue leaders, then that means that they're in a theme of some sort, a current hot theme. That's about it. The rest of it is that outside of that would maybe be some momentum or a change of character stocks. So we're talking like big earnings gap ups, power earnings gap, peg plays that I may be interested in, even though they're not in a current theme. That could be an emerging theme, or they just are an outlier. Those kind of stock plays. I've gotten away from very few small caps because I've limited with my scan that I use now. I've limited to where it won't even pick them up, even though I do have them on there in case the volume gets such that it would be of interest. But so first thing of note, like you would note, like New York Times, what the hell how is that on there? And so it just picks it up and it's of interest. HLT, and then BKH, FCN, regional banks. So banks have been hot, but that's too high, too fast for me. Beautiful move, but needs more time for consolidate. Just looking through them. Relative strengths poor right there. Region looks good, right? So it's got that relative strength that you want to look for, that relative strength phase. And then we've got a low volume, and we had prior high volume. We got that 30% move, more than likely, right there. Roughly 30% move, probably if I go back. Yeah, 30% move from here. And then now pulls back, moves up, pulls back, moves up. That's what you're looking for. And this is a little basing area. And so we have this area right there to sort of break through. That's basically what I'm looking for. It all comes down to this big volume, big move, 30% move, big volume, institutional interest, low volume pullback, buy it through the high of the day. Region is A+ setup for me, or A setup. I mean, look at that relative strength. That's what I want to see. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our setups. And how do I get to them? Well, basically, at this point, I run that list and go through it, and however you want to do it, you do you type thing. But you get down to these guys right here. Do I use AI? Of course I use AI. I mean, why would you not? It's amazing technology to assist you. Let's check on all here before I go through them. Damn. Kind of holding it at that VWAP, thinking about half my position. If we lose it, it's critical. If you start working with VWAPs, you have to remember, very critical, that you wait for the close. Whatever time frame you're working on, whether it's a daily, 65-minute, 4 hours, 30 minutes, whatever. I use 12 minutes. Long story on that, but won't get into that tonight. But I'm waiting on that 5-day to flatten out and then curl back up. And I want to be in when that happens. As you can see, it looks like right here we're starting to flatten out, but price only pays, and so far price hasn't done that, but we'll see if it does. Want to be in before that 1020 cloud and go through it, add to my position. I can take some off here if we close. Again, I'll probably cut half, drop it down, then add back on the recovery. All right, so let's look at our setups here. Let's go to the daily. So in the end, all that to say that these are our setups, and maybe I left something off there, but that's pretty much it. Traders Lab, stock charts, Deepvue, relative rotation graph. We'll get to that another day. I'll go through that. Check the ETFs. I mean, there's a lot more to my routine. I've gone through my entire routine before. If I'm successful and anybody's of interest, I'll go through the entire routine. It takes me about 1 hour to do it. I've had to learn to sort of shut Twitter down and not click on other links, but I can do it in 1 hour confidently, not rushing it, not pushing it. In 1 hour, I'm able to go through my process and come up with these setups. Now, I can come up with these setups in 5 minutes. I can break them all the way down to this, but I need to understand the market direction. I need to understand the market feel. It's critical. It's a huge part of the trading. And you learn that, again, when you read the books and everything, that most of the market moves in the direction of the market. And so it's a waste of time to buy something when 70% of the market is going down. Those are up, down days versus volume, all that stuff, new highs, new lows, breadth. those kind of things. And so if you're not tracking those metrics and you're a technical trader such as myself, then you're going to be in a bind. Now, if you have high conviction because you're fundamentally based or primarily, or it's a large portion of your trading, then good for you. You can get away with that. But in my case, I need to know the direction of the market. I need to know the extremes. Those are two critical factors to any of this. So I can do this in 5 minutes, and the rest of the time is spent understanding the market currently, where it's at, and potentially where it's going. I don't like people that say, like, well, you can't predict, you can't, whatever, man. Fuck off with that shit. Like, you got to bet on something. You're at some point you're betting. You're not. You read all these psychology books, and you're placing the trade, and then you're forgetting about it. Man, whatever. I'm always watching it. I don't care what anybody says. I've got an eye on it, and you're betting on the market going one way or the other. You're betting on that individual trade outperforming the market. That's what trading is. You're trying to outperform the market, the SPX, the S&P 500, and you're trying to find that one stock or 2 to 3 to 5 that is going to outperform the market when the market is headed in the right direction. So if you're trading against the market, you have very little chance of that happening. And when you're trading with the market, you want to be in the stocks that showed relative strength and institutional interest while the market was pulling back. That's it. That's all you're trying to do. So having said that, region is one. And I've gone ahead and added on my 3 primary indicators. These are all 3. I've created them myself. Call it vibe coding, whatever. I've had these for some time. I don't generally show these to you, but I decided starting off this year I will. What we have here is, this is relative strength, and this is on balance volume. This is my relative rotation histogram. And I created this based off of, when I was not really based off of, but when I was watching the relative rotation graph designed by the guy of Stock Charts, Julius de Campinar, and it's wonderful as a snapshot. And he says that's what it is, a snapshot. But I needed something where I could see the stock price and volume along with the relative rotation strength, is what I would call it. And I wanted to be able to track it in such a way that I could modify it. So his is like basically weekly or daily, whatnot. You can go smaller time frames, but you can't see the price and the volume. And he's always talking about going back. Well, I figured out a way to get it all together. And to me, it's a little bit unique. And this shading color basically is liquidity. And it's really, really benefited my trading. So as you can see right here, obviously green is good. And you can see that we've got the momentum and price. And here we've got the momentum and price. And then here we're struggling a little bit. It's a little bit of a dip buy. That's what the yellow means. And then the maroon means get the fuck out. And then the blue is improving. So basically that's what it means. And as you can see here, it's pretty effective. In fact, right here on the this is my little sort of secret sauce play right here, is the improving, and before it's in the improving quadrant, and it works right here. So it's pretty good stuff. Now here it doesn't work, but what would you say is the reason why it doesn't work here? Put that back on. Why doesn't it work right here? Well, if you look at the volume and you look at the declining 30-week, then why would you? You're in stage 4, and you're below the 30-week, below the 200-day. I mean, it's not a good setup. Now here we're starting getting, you get into a long enough stretch, and you see XLV improving, and then boom, we have a power earnings gap. Well, then now from here on out, this everything to the right has changed, and the game has changed. And look at the institutional accumulation. So as we come right here, and you see that we're turning blue right there, see it? Right there, we're turning blue. Then we've got a potential dip buy. And so that's what we're looking for right there. So like in region. And then we have KGC. So gold is a hot theme. We know that, gold has been tearing it up. Good for gold. Let me bring something up here. Well, shit. There it is. So I've gone through and made my notes. And KGC, what's curious about is a gold play that gapped down. And that's unusual. And, we need to go back and check the news on that and see why it gapped down. I don't think GDX gapped down on that day, but I could be wrong. Not like that. Yeah, it did. Good. So not a game breaker, not a difference in there. So KGC is in line with the market. So you see that pullback by GDX so right there. So that's what you want to see right there. An upside reversal, push it up. GDX, we know that gold's strong tonight. Oh, wrong button. Let's check gold while we're here. Intraday. My God, gold. Gold looking good tonight. Let's check WTI. Yeah, holding that line. It's all right. So WTI, holding that line. Let's go KGC. KGC, upside reversal. We saw GDX, and so we had that gap down, similar move. But look at that relative strength right there. And on balance volume, it's a dip buy. This is considered dip buy on the relative rotation histogram. Looks good. When we get into gold play, that's the one showing. Invita, we've got a little bit of area support right here. It's Invita. If we're going to see a return of XLK, I want to be in it, and Invita would be the place to be. You can tell it's obvious that he's cultivating his relationship with Donald Trump to get through that time period. That's an obvious thing. So Invita is definitely one to keep a watch on. Outside bars, not so concerning in an environment, in a bullish environment, which we still are currently in. Doesn't feel like it right now, but we are. ILMN, so XLV really strong right now. We hit our 20%. So this is got this. I forget his name off the top of my head. What is this called? Base Finder. I want to give credit, but I can't remember his name. Amphibian Trader. So he created that, and it allowed me to get away from Investors Business Daily because I needed that. So this was a huge, big base we broke out of, and then now we've been consolidating, a little pullback. So that 20% move, let me take off the measure. So from the breakout right there, this is 5%, this blue area, this is considered the buy zone. And then when we get to 20%, that's a profit-taking zone for institutions. And what I will say is there's also a Bill O'Neill rule, and I believe we hit it here. So we hit that 20% target within a certain amount of weeks, pretty quickly, in other words. Then it means that you generally 9-week rule, I believe it is. And if you look at it on the weekly, so here's the breakout. So let's go 1, 3 weeks type, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And we hit that 20%. So yeah, 9-week roll. And he hit that 20% move. Well, let's do it from here, but you get the point. So 20% move within 9 weeks, which means basically you should hold it. It's got a potential to go higher. It means institutions really liked it. They're not selling. You see the low volume pullback on the weekly. We got 3 weeks tight, a little dipsy do right here. It was a week. And then now we got the 3-bar break on the daily. Got potential to go higher is the point right there. UPS, so value stocks been doing good. Love this play. FDX coming off of earnings had a dip. Had a dip right here, got snatched up by institutions, pushed it up. It's got me very interested in it. So UPS, I want to see, I already drew the line in right there. I want to see it pull back right there to 100, buy it off of 100, and then, up from there. clear institutional involvement. You can see the ants right there, and you can see the volume. Look at the on balance volume right there. I mean, relative strength, new highs. This is 3-month settings, and then on balance volume, new highs before price as well. CMI. So infrastructure play. Look at that humongous coil, and then break. It's 3-bar break. So continuation play through 521.80. Great relative strength on Friday. It is purple. A little concerning there. GLW, another AI infrastructure play, 3-bar break. Huge volume, very volatile, little crazy. But again, break of that mini coil right there, 89.98, liking that. Good close on strong volume. Let's check it intraday. Yeah, look at that volume close. Looking for continuation on GLW. And then ISRG, probably the one I'm most interested in tomorrow. And the reason why is because XLV has been so strong. It held its gap up off earnings and has never put in a lower low. I guess you could argue it came down, pulled in that 50, and immediately signed institutional strength, came in and bought it up off the 50. So I doubt that it goes back lower. I think that's the low spot. And then we make a new breakout through 583.45, blue skies breakout. It's got room to run. Huge institutional accumulation. A little bit of a robotics theme as well. So you got that going for you as well. Robo had a nice day. Google definitely pulling back into support right there. And it's just that simple. Google's also on watch is just overall for the market. You know, if Google holds up, good. If the Reaper gets Google, then and closes below that 50-day, which is a screen line right here, that we're going down. So that's what I'm watching for tomorrow. REGN. You can see that it's AI infrastructure and a little bit of value with UPS, and then health. So that's where I'm at right there. REGN, KGC, NVIDIA, ILMN, UPS, CMI, GLW, ISRG, and Google. And you got Google and NVIDIA in there. You got your old standbys, even though currently it looks like the big 7 or big 8 are starting to struggle a little bit. So we'll see tomorrow. Good luck, everybody. Just want to post this video just because I entered the contest and I thought it'd be fun. And I just want to kind of put a little journal to it. And normally I'll just do a little 5-minute video, call it Phat 5-minute setups, and let you watch them and go. Kind of excited. Good luck, everybody.